Hey guys, so I'm just really tired. I usually don't I usually don't do retakes, but I am just so tired. This is actually you're watching my third sort of retake, but yeah, I mean today just doing my weekly check-in, right? So I did 21 over 21,000 steps, and I've burned so far 4,306 calories. So it's actually, and total steps are 21,298. So I usually do, I mean, I would say on average, I'm Fitbit. I can actually tell me the average, but I don't really want to waste time going into the metrics. But I do get somewhere in between 10,000 and 15,000, at least as of this year. I've had quite a few 15,000 days, which is why I thought maybe I should just increase my minimum goal from 10,000 to 15,000. But, I did double of my previous minimum and um, a third more of my current minimum today. So, yeah, definitely more than a third. So, yeah, I want to just quickly move into, the core topic of the video, which is how I personally use credit cards. So there are two reasons, or I guess two purposes why I use credit cards. So the number one reason, and this has definitely evolved over time and has become a less important reason or a less frequent reason why I use credit cards, and it's as a sort of like zero interest payday loan, right? So if I know that, like, for example, when I was working minimum wage jobs back in the day, right, I would know that, well, I have 2 weeks or a week of income, accrued, right? And so I'm just waiting for a paycheck, but things are kind of short. Maybe I don't have enough cash in my bank account to pay for things with a debit card, right? And I would just use a credit card as essentially like a payday loan, right? It's a zero interest payday loan, and I could obviously, right, these credit cards do have interest rates, but I call it a zero interest payday loan because interest usually does not, it's not charged against you. It's not incurred unless you carry a balance, right? So I would only use credit cards to pay. I would never carry a balance, and I would always use credit cards. Well, I want to be completely honest and clear here. I did have some very early trouble with my very first credit card, but that was like very early. My credit sort of history for the past 5 or 6 years has been pretty spot on, right? But yeah, for the purpose of this video, right, in recent memory, I have definitely just been pretty good about not carrying balances. My credit score is pretty decent as well. So yeah. Anyway, didn't want to go on that little tangent there, but I'm just exhausted, guys. Apologies, but so yeah, using credit cards as a bridge loan or as a 0% interest loan by using funds that I have like a 99.9% faith and confidence that I'll have the funds to cover and ideally exceed the balance that I'm accumulating on my credit card. And if a lot of this, a lot of what I'm saying sounds, a little advanced, that's fine. This is mostly like a vlog, I guess, right? Just going over how I use my credit cards. And in future videos, you will be given context around definitions and sort of like the mechanics of a credit card. But this video, for intents and purposes, is just mostly as a high level a high-level description of how credit cards work to an extent, right? But mostly just going over, how I use them, right? So that's the first one. 0%, 0% interest loan as long as I don't carry a balance, which is something I haven't done in a really, really long time. Number two, this is the primary reason why I use credit cards and will be the case probably for the rest of my life or as long as I intend to continue using credit cards, and it's to increase my credit score and build my credit profile, right? Um, you know, I want to make sure that I'm having, great utilization rates. Again, a lot of this stuff we'll go over in future videos, but, just ensuring that my utilization rates are low. I mean, I even do little things that make my balance below zero. Like sometimes I'll pay off credit card balances before they're even due, which there is evidence out there suggesting that that's probably not a good thing to do in terms of improving your credit score because you want to have a little bit of a balance, right? But you don't so you want to have a little bit of a balance according to some sites under 10% utilization, but you also don't want to carry a balance. So there is a window after after a certain period where it's time to pay the balance, right? And I'm trying to simplify this as much as possible, right? Because I don't want to lose some of our people here who are not very familiar with credit cards or how they work. But there's a window, right, where the beginning point is we want you to pay the money back that you essentially borrowed, right, or spent with the credit card, and the end point is, well, after that end point, after that window, it's considered late or like you've carried a balance, right? I consider any time that I carry a balance, past that end point, right, past the end point of that when window of time, I consider that late. I don't like carrying balances at all. So yeah, I use them to boost my credit score. There are different factors that I mentioned, utilization. Another one is length of credit. That's a big one. I've had my credit cards for a really long time, so and that has contributed to my credit score. Another one is diversification of credit. So that's an area that I'm pretty weak in because I consider myself to be very risk averse when it comes to debt. So my loans, I've had student loans, but I paid them off within like 3 or 4 months of graduating college because it wasn't that much. And after college, I ended up getting a pretty good paying job. So it's just the combination of those two things that made my student loans an afterthought. But yeah, like my diversification really sucks, right? Different topic for a different day. I want to stick to the credit cards, but I'm trying to think of some other factors that increase or decrease, right? Just in general things that impact your credit score. But yeah, those are the ones that I can think of from the top of the noggin here. So, but yeah, those are the two reasons why I use credit cards. And nowadays, right, because I don't really have cash flow issues, I would definitely say that 98% of the reason why I use credit cards is to build my credit. So one day when I do want to take on bigger financial obligations, like maybe a mortgage, that I will get the most, competitive or the lowest terms possible on that mortgage, right? There are other benefits as well. Like if I wanted to go apply for a mortgage, sorry, I already said mortgage, a car note, right, which is essentially a mortgage but for a car, right? That is something that I would consider, in the future, and how a credit card would come in handy. But yeah, that's pretty much how I use credit cards. Um, I will be discussing in future videos uh, various aspects of credit cards, details, things to look out for, things to avoid. But yeah, looking forward to future financial related videos and videos in general about credit. Thank you.